Hi everyone, Trina here, Origins of Soul 6.4. And what I wanted to start out with was this. Plate 16. From the womb to the tomb, we are overseen by spiritual companions. They often greet us after we go to the life review and assist us in examining where we could have made more positive choices. While all of us has had at least one spiritual guide, many people have two or three. Each individual guide has his or her own unique set of talents designed to assist us with the life plans that we have made before incarnating on earth. Christ in the Sepulchre, Guarded by Angels, by William Blake. And this is the image that they show. Isn't that beautiful? That's what I see, the two angels, one on each shoulder, the good one and the bad one. And every one of these religions and theologies, they all talk about our protectors, guardian angels, overseers, all these different terms for beings, ancestors, all of these different beings that watch over us when we're incarnated down in earth. So I think that's totally true. I think we do have support from many different places and many different realms. So I do think too that it's a rule of non-interference. So I think you need to ask, because they can't violate your will. So if you want help from your ancestors, if you want help from your spirit guides, if you want help from your councils of light and the councils of the elders, call forth. Tell them you want their help, because they can't interfere unless you ask for it. And I don't know why, but I've been told this over and over and over again. So I really think that's a big part of it, is asking. And it's not like you're begging. You're asking like you would ask your friend to help you with something that you needed help with. And that's how I've always seen it. It's a relationship, and it's an asking for guidance or whatever you need, just like you would ask for it from anybody that you knew here on this realm. So go to these beings and ask them for help to solve questions. If there's something you want to know about, say, I would really like to know about this. Show me in a way that I can understand more about it. And then start to pay attention to what shows up around you in your reality. Give it a couple days. See what happens. But you have to pay attention. You might get information in songs, movies, TV commercials, news headlines. Somebody will say something. There's a million ways it can come. But you have to start to learn the language of the universe, because it works through many different means in this reality. It works through everything. So if you're open to receiving from everything, you're going to get a lot more information. And 90% of that is just being open to the subtle energies around you and trusting information as you get it. You know, like randomly you'll think of somebody you haven't thought of in a long time. No, that's because either they just thought of you, or your spirit guides are trying to get you two together for some reason, or to unlock some memory or something. There's always reasoning behind these thoughts that are just kind of out of the blue, and just pay attention to that. I found that those things are just key. So the Devic kingdom, up until about 200 years ago, the existence of the Devic kingdom, as well as the vast realm of nature spirits that people had encountered living so close to nature, was widely acknowledged. But our scientific, technological societies have grown more and more mental and less heart and spirit based. We have gotten out of touch with this realm. In fact, all three of these kingdoms, human, plant, and Devic, were meant to work together in harmony. Today, however, we believe that fairies, pixies, elementals, angels, and other such creatures are but the stuff of fairy tales. Yet, all these etherical beings actually support humans in symbiosis, for they are the hands and the feet of the Creator in the realms of matter. Theosophist and clairvoyant Geoffrey Hodson the first began to share his discoveries about the Devic kingdom in a little book called The Kingdom of the Gods, published in 1952. The book depicts his paintings of these nature spirits, revealing visions of the radiant Devic energies that oversee mountains, islands, forests. Being made of energy and light, these Devic spirits often take on the shape of the plant or the mountain, mirroring the very form of energy they serve. A tree elemental, for example, might appear as a tall, radiating being with large extended arms. A bush might look fat and round. A mountain elemental might be tall and pointed or wide and jagged. These are the translucent beings that I first saw as a child in the forest, across the road from my parents' home. Elementals that I described in my first book, Dialogues with the Angels. These Devic spirits are part of the psycho-spiritual fabric of the cause realm that nourishes the infrastructure of all nature. Here is a short excerpt from Hodson's book that describes observing and overseeing mountain elementals. The appearance of these beings is most magnificent. In height, colossal, often ranging from 30 to 60 feet. The mountain god is surrounded on every side by an outrushing, brilliantly colored auric force. These forces flow out from the central form in waves, eddies, and vortices, varying continually in color and in response of consciousness and activity. The face is generally more clear and visible than the rest of the form, which is not infrequently, it is veiled the outflowing energies. It's veiled by the outflowing energies. Whilst in man, the heart and the solar plexus chakra are distinct. In mountain and other gods, they are sometimes conjoined to form a brilliant force center, often golden in color, from which many of the streams of power arise and flow forth. On occasion, these streams take on the form of great wings, stretched out for hundreds of yards on either side of the majestic figure. Depending on whichever element they are associated with, these Devic spirits have been called gnomes, earth, undines, water, sliths, air, salamanders, fire. The Greeks referred to them as the Dirads, the Dirads, the trees, the Naiads, water, and the Oreads, mountains. the Celtic people have their sea kelpies, forest brownies, and the village of leprechauns. Some of these fairies or little people, it is clear from this list that there are many categories of divas, from the simplest elemental who assist in the growing of a plant, to the larger, formless arupa divas that move through the pure elements of water, fire, earth, and air. Many of these souls will evolve into fairies on their way to eventually becoming human. But while in humanoid shape, these beings assist with the tasks of nature. Scholar Janine Miller writes about how the Vedic seers were aware of these benign, helpful nature spirits. Everything in the universe pulses with diva life, whether this be the intelligence that energizes diva substance, or that substance which responds to the impact of divine intelligence. The call of the high divas and the evolutionary life to the ancient philosophers, fire, air, water, earth, were but the visible garb, the symbols of the informing invisible souls or spirits, the cosmic gods. Madame Blavatsky reminds us that we live and have our being in the elements, hence in the very substance of the divas. For without air or water we cannot survive. The earth is obviously our habitat. So this is saying these elements, we are intimately connected through these elements, because without these elements present, we could not survive. We would not exist. So when the soul first begins its journey into the 6th and 7th dimensions, it gains experience by aligning with one of the 4 elemental kingdoms. This allows it to begin to individuate over time. Most souls have spent 3 or 4 or 5 billion years in the Divic realms, long before coming into the denser physical realms as human beings. As an elemental, the soul's essence is anchored to the higher worlds, even though it may have been on assignment in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th dimensions. In this way, through the different elements that is experienced, the soul begins to acquire certain affinities. These affinities then become a part of the soul's matrix, manifesting in talents, interest, and energetic alignments once it takes birth in the human realm. Understandably, the longer a soul spends in any of these elements, the greater the gifts it receives from them. When I do a reading for a client, I first begin by taking a look at the age of the soul. I want to know which of the 9 angelic orders it was created in. For this tells me the path of its greatest happiness. Then I look at its experience in the various elemental realms. This reveals a great deal about the nature and natural talents of that person, and how he has best to be expressed in himself in the world of matter. It also guides me in looking at the major themes, latent talents, and even why the person may be strong in some ways and weak in others. In addition, I want to know the age of the soul and its spiritual maturity, for as we shall see in chapter 15, there are beginner, young, intermediate, advanced, and master souls. Each has its own strengths and weaknesses. Following lists The following lists the various spiritual gifts and the affinities associated with each of the 4 Devic kingdoms. Most souls have only experienced 2 or 3 of these kingdoms, and the order in which they experienced that element, as well as the amount of time spent in that element, makes a powerful difference in how these gifts are expressed in an individual life. We will begin very soon with the Water Kingdom. This is kind of a little extensive. It talks about all the different kingdoms and how we express them inside of our own being now. So I thought this was excellent. I haven't read it yet. I just glanced over a little bit of it, and I thought, this is going to be wonderful. I can't wait to read it with you all. So we will go into the Water Kingdom on the next video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Have a wonderful day. Namaste. Much love and favor to you always in abundance. See you soon. Bye-bye.